Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GnWC Weekly. I'm the Duke, and I'm joined by my good buddy.
I'm a PC.
I'm not a Mac. I'm also a PC.
We can't both be PCs, guy. I already called it.
But I mean, I have Macs. I have.
Be like Linux or something.
Okay, I'm Linux because apparently, according to nerds, I'm more superior than like sliced bread when it comes.
Speaking of, how many Pokemon have you caught this week?
Zero. I have been playing another. So what?
No, I was gonna say I've been playing another Pokemon game.
No. I have
Pokemon White on Game Boy.
No, I have been playing another RPG on like I was playing that mobile RPG, and now I'm on to another mobile RPG. It's called Battle Hand, and it's actually a lot deeper than the one I was playing before. And
you have mobile RPG ADD.
I really do. Well,
yeah, that's a thing.
There's a story behind that. I'll have to tell you afterward. But this new one's pretty cool. It's a lot more. There's a lot more depth to it. Battle Hand. Check it out on Android, and I don't know if it's on iPhone. It's made by Congregate, so they've been around for years and years. They're like one of the original gaming sites on the interwebs back in the day of Flash game domination. So anyway,
I bought Overwatch for the computer.
What's that?
And, I bought Overwatch for the PC.
Why did you do that?
Because I love it. I love that game. And
it's not a bad game.
I played like
surprised
5 matches, and I never want to play it ever again because I'm so bad compared to everyone else.
That's why I asked.
Like, I don't understand.
Because that would be me. That would be me.
God.
I just don't do shooters anymore because I suck so much. I just
I
never really grew up on them, so
I just don't get better. Like, I am what I am in shooters, and I don't get better, and everyone else does. And then that's where like the downfall is.
Larry,
I don't run in groups. I always solo queue. So
Larry,
it's a thing. Yeah.
Are we talking about games on the Game and Wrestling Connection?
It sometimes happens.
What's happening?
Yeah, it sometimes happens, but yeah.
So
he's
Larry.
Yeah, I am.
Hang on, he's Larry. I'm Duke. It's after SmackDown on Thursday.
The last Thursday SmackDown.
Yeah, the last Thursday until the next time there's a Thursday SmackDown. But it's the last non-live SmackDown for quite a while. So we don't have to worry about those spoilers, at least, for a little bit. So that's good news.
Yeah. And I don't have to worry about, I still have to worry about TNA spoilers because the plan right now is to do it Monday Night Raw, Monday Night Nitro style. I watch Raw. I watch SmackDown. Second hour of SmackDown, I'm kind of in and out between Impact Wrestling and SmackDown, probably more SmackDown. And then the last hour of Impact Wrestling, I get to watch. So it's going to be good. It's going to alleviate a lot of free time in this household just by doing that.
They're moving Impact to Thursdays.
I will punch you in the face if that happens. I will take the bus, Greyhound, right down. Are they really moving to Thursday?
They really are. I'm not messing with you. They're moving Impact to Thursdays. I'll verify. So don't trust me until I verify, but I'll verify while you're ranting at some point. And,
I will punch you in the face if that happens and call it your fault. But I probably won't punch you in the face. I'd probably be nice. I'll probably buy you Taco Bell or something.
But speaking of you ranting, why don't we go ahead and hit a couple of news items, and then we'll get into our topics.
All right. So the few news items I have for this week, or the ones I actually really cared about enough to share, were the fact that Moose, known from Ring of Honor and football, whatever, made his TNA debut. So good news, Duke. Moose signed a contract with TNA, so he's going to be on Impact Wrestling and then not on Ring of Honor anymore. The other news item I have written down is that other people have debuted. Other indie talent were used for TV tapings. Some titles changed, and they were all for future TV episodes for various promotions, and I don't want to spoil it for myself, so I didn't click the clickbait.
Gotcha. And just so you know,
my hands are up because I'm celebrating that fact.
Yeah, very good. And just so you know, Impact is on Thursday starting next week, a week from tonight.
That is ridiculous. I didn't even see that, and I was perusing the news because I'm all caught up on Ring of Honor, so I really didn't care.
Yeah, they announced it a week ago,
Oh,
and
God.
it will be a week from tonight. So
It was going to be so good to just have Raw on Monday, SmackDown and Impact on Tuesday, NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic on Wednesday, and then like Thursday and Friday to just do whatever. To watch something on DVR if I missed it, maybe even start watching Lucha Underground that I missed the whole season, and maybe even Ohio Valley Wrestling TV or whatever else I could have added to the mix.
or Queen of the
And
South, Queen of the South.
listen, I could have watched regular TV for like
Yeah.
the first time since I moved out of my apartment. But oh god,
It's happening.
I'm miserable now.
Every night but Friday we'll have wrestling.
Well, Friday has Superstars.
Starting at 8:00.
If you want to technically get that way.
What's that?
Friday has Superstars if you want to technically get that way.
I mean like on TV.
What are they doing with main event? Are they moving main event to Thursday? I don't know. But anyway, since I'm in such a sour mood right now, let me just talk about the week in wrestling, Duke, and you can interject periodically where you see fit.
Sure.
It was a good week of wrestling. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of things that really just like peed in my Cheerios, I guess, is probably the best way to say it. Let's start with Raw.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know. That's an expression somewhere. Don't pee in my Cheerios. I'm pretty sure.
No,
Look that up.
It is.
Google that on the image tab.
No, no.
On Monday Night Raw, and I don't think you're going to disagree with me, but just am I taking it too far in saying that I am really, really pissed off that they're using Roman Reigns' suspension in such a plot line to set up this battleground fight, the three-way between all the former Shield members. They're just like making a joke and a mockery out of it by doing the fake interview with Seth Rollins, and it was entertaining and it's funny, sure, but anytime Seth Rollins brings it up, it's like Dean Ambrose's music hits or he stands up and he's like defending the guy. He's that guy, Duke, that's like, Duke, but he robbed 5 guys while they were playing Pokemon Go. And then Dean would just be like, yeah, but he's my friend. It's not an argument.
Let me throw in on that particular thing and then backtrack. I haven't necessarily seen Dean defend him. If anything, it sounded like he doubled down on or he threw in with Seth on that fact when he made the comment of, well, that was more toward sort of Brock and stuff, but when he made the comment about chasing fantasies and chasing other sports fantasies or whatever it was he said, but that was more of a nod toward Brock and CM Punk and stuff like that. But I don't know. I haven't necessarily noticed him defending. To me, it seems like he's more, this is about you and me. Who cares about Roman?
Well, the first time they did it, he was just like, nah, he was just kind of like, nah, he's in the match. It was kind of like Seth was saying, well, he cheated. He did something wrong. He got suspended for it. He should be taken out of the match. And Dean's just like, nah. And every time Seth Rollins hits the point of insulting Roman Reigns for what he did, it's like Dean Ambrose is like right there. Music hits and he comes down to the ring, or he stands up from the commentary table to kind of just like be like, enough. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. So there's that, but here's this is going to be my only input on it. To me, the end will either justify or horribly either the end is going to justify the means, or you're going to be right. How about that? I'll say it that way. Well, hang on.
No, I'm not saying they're making Roman Reigns going to win after the suspension and something like that. So don't get me wrong on that. I'm still thinking they're going to he's still like not going to be the winner of the match.
Well, we are going into the brand split. So here's been my perspective. My perspective has been, especially after this week, my perspective has been they're really burying Reigns on this, and
They're keeping him in the spotlight, though.
that you're not wrong, but they're making a point to make sure everyone realizes the guy did something wrong, and I don't know how like.
But they're
And this is
turning it
like
into comedy too at the same time. Like I understand, like they,
well, let me
set
finish my
that
point.
into.
I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
go ahead.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Let me finish my point. So, to me, it came across as really burying him. And yes, there was sort of a comedy segment, but anyway, we'll move past that for a second. Um, where was I going with that? Oh, okay. So we're going into the split. There's going to be a championship on each show. This makes.
Do we know that for a fact, though?
Well, we don't technically know.
I mean,
We
they
technically
did
do not know
rename
that.
the title. That's like the biggest hint that they've ever given.
Right. Yeah, we did.
But
We didn't. We don't technically know that, but they are making it out that they are going to be. They are actually going to be separate brands with very separate identities. That's how they're presenting it. But who knows? This could be got your nose booking to the nth degree. So anyway, it seems to me they've been kind of burying him, and I don't know what buries him harder as far as the whole end justifies the means mindset. I don't know what buries him harder than they both win. Than Seth and Dean pin Roman, where not only does he get buried by the promos and everything on the way to the match, but then when he finally comes back and whatever happens, I suspect he's gonna have a hard time getting cheered by even the kids this time, but we'll see. Um, and that was my point before was I feel like they're even telling the kids, hey, you don't need to be cheering for this guy because you don't need to be cheering for this guy. He's not the role model that he's presented himself as. But anyway, sort of the public flogging punishment type thing that WWE is known for. But if they both pin him and then a championship goes to each show, then that's the ultimate. It's not a burial, but that's the ultimate sort of pittance, I guess. That he's paid at that point. Not only was he dogged in promos and stuff like that, but now he's the guy that got pinned by both people. Like he's the ultimate loser in the match.
But that also makes him strong because the only way he could have lost was being pinned by two guys at the same time. So I'm not like nitpicking your argument at the same. Like
You're
that,
not.
but at the same.
Yeah, I know. That's how. Whether
that's how it's always been.
Yeah,
like nothing
right.
changed there. But anyway, we'll move on from that, and that's a good preview for next week's thing. So that's a little spoiler from Duke. He thinks that there's going to be controversy in the mix. Both guys are going to get the claim for the pin. And the only way to dispute that claim is to make one the champion of one brand, one the champion of the other brand. Did I got that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so look for that next week.
And by the way, let me throw this out there. Our draft special that we recorded weeks ago, and I will remind people of that in a quick little intro for it, will be put out before they do the actual draft. So this show will come out, and then you will see that the one we're recording right now will come out, and then the one we've already recorded, which is a little dated because that's when Roman was champ. But besides that, everything else is kind of the same. So we will that will be out shortly after this one. So before the draft.
One more thing on Raw. Well, there's two more things on Raw. This one's real quick. It doesn't need to be
okay.
like argued to death. I don't need to go into it. I thought that last hour was like terrible. And maybe it was just like the last like half hour plus whatever extended. I thought the women's match was dreadful until the commercial. And then from the commercial break until the pinfall or the submission was really good. Like so much better than the first part of the match.
Yeah, it was weird.
There was got the mic, and it just went downhill again. And then the McMahons came out, and the McMahon segment could have just been like a backstage segment, and it could have been like 20 seconds. Like that just like killed the whole. Like I don't know if it looked like they was stalling for time, and the women's match had to be like extended because of it. And then it was just like a lot of awkwardness. And then with Charlotte on the mic as well. And then even in the McMahon segment, it was just like, okay, I understand that the McMahons and you want Vince in the ring because the fans are going to respond to it. But it just seemed like a whole lot of nothing for like the last hour of Raw. And
you're not wrong. Yeah, I agree with that.
I kind of just didn't like it. And I also didn't like the whole Wyatt compound thing. What's your thoughts on that? Because I know you're a big New Day fan. You're pretty decent size Wyatt fan as well. How'd you like that?
Was that a fat joke? No, I'm just kidding.
As soon as I said that, I'm like, oh, it's like probably not the greatest thing to say, but it's all right because you're like,
I'm fine.
You're way down.
Yeah, I'm losing.
From me, at least.
Well, and I've really been cutting it lately too. So
as you're watching NXT on the track, I'm like freaking stuffing my face, going, "Yep, I like food."
So the compound. Obviously, people are going to compare it to the Final Deletion, even though they were very different.
I didn't see Final Deletion, so like.
Final Deletion was campy, but very intentionally, as all of that has been. And it's geniusly campy, in my opinion. It's nice to see people be able to commit to something and just really... It's kind of like the New Day getting over. That they just committed so hard that people were like, I have to love these guys for being committed. But people compare it to that. I didn't hate it. I feel like a couple of things didn't work well for it, and one was it was overly produced.
That's on my list.
Yeah, and this
is exactly what I said. You ready?
Overproduced. Yeah, go ahead.
We have footage of the fight between the Wyatts and the New Day, but someone overly edited it before they gave it to our production truck. But here it is.
Enjoy. Yeah, exactly. So there's that, and then there's the music is part of that, but it's a separate piece on its own. I didn't understand putting I didn't understand having some sound effects from time to time, like when you did the sort of battle shifting type moments. That's the word I was looking for. Like when Strowman was standing up doing his big scream near the end, and then Kofi came in for the save and all that. When you had moments like that, some sound effects or maybe a quick little bit of music, but having music the entire time also like compounded the fact that it was overproduced already, because it's like, well, like I maybe have some music at the beginning, some music at the end, and maybe a couple of sound effects when you have these shifts in the fight. But I don't know why you would have like music just constantly going. Like I would, yeah, just so I guess the biggest problem was overproduction of it. Other than that, I didn't hate. I liked it. I liked the story it told. I just wish they would have let the story be told a little more, as opposed to trying to. I don't know. It had a good. I don't. There were really there were really great moments. The Strowman was a lot of them, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, I
agree
with that.
He was a freaking monster, and that's the first time
that's the first time he looked like a freaking monster.
Exactly, and he was scary.
But it was in a post-produced piece, which scares me.
Right.
Then can't do it in the ring live. Now, here's the thing here's the problem I had with it. One, none of these like parking lot, backstage, bunkhouse brawl kind of segments have ever worked in the past. They've always been ridiculed. They always make the list of like the hokiest moments or whatever. Second, it was kind of nauseating to watch. And as somebody who's had brain trauma and who gets like very like, sensitive to this stuff, it affected me in a little bit of way. The way they kind of cut things and kind of like you kind of lost track of what was happening at times because of the whole the whole Instagram filter that they used on the segment.
Man, the
as
shaky
well.
cam, the
Shaky cam and
excessive
constant
shaky cam.
cutscenes and like jump cuts, and it wasn't like one long fight. It was just like segments of fight. It was like a montage. The other thing is, I watched it with somebody who's up in their years and who's had a stroke as well, and it's just not easy to follow. Like, you don't know what happened at the end of it. You don't know what was happening in the middle of it. It was not made for somebody who's like. It was not made for somebody who's like 65 and over. Let's just say that. For clarity, for understanding, for following it from front to back. And what was the payoff really anyway? Like, the New Day is finally scared and 30 people were given LED lanterns. Is that like really all that came out of that?
Yeah,
That
I don't know.
New Day is now scared?
Yeah, I don't know what the payoff is supposed to be. Besides
also, I didn't like
yeah.
the fact that they were using like axes and weapons. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just like, that's not wrestling.
Yeah, they tried to make it too real, and then they tried to make it too horror movie.
It's almost like, let's make it like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but no, like, chainsaws are too much, so let's just have like a couple axes out there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean,
I will say, I'm just gonna throw this one thing out there. That's the first time we've actually gotten a live Sister Abigail, isn't it?
If that was Sister Abigail.
I know, but there's always been an implication of her. There's never been like a live person that.
Well, I mean, that still wasn't live. It's still like the same as like a vignette.
A person though. They like we've never, like, we've always had hints of her, and maybe even like a female voice that, some laughter or child's laughter or something like that. We've never actually seen a personification of Sister Abigail. So maybe that means something.
Maybe if it is Sister Abigail, but there's still like cut shots and all his vignettes from back in the day where there was still somebody portraying a female character.
Oh, there was.
I
didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah, but still unnamed, uncredited kind of stuff. But
sure.
All right, well, let's move on from Raw, because I mean, there was an injury spot on Raw too, and I forget who it was. It's just the trope I hate. One wrestler A injures wrestler B because it's a wrestling match, and that's kind of what they do. But then the referee pulls wrestler A off of wrestler B to attend to them, so that for whatever reason, that's a new thing WWE's been playing up, and I hate it. But anyway, NXT was basically a Samoa Joe confrontation with Rhino, and a 20-minute Finn Balor Nakamura match, and then 20 minutes of hyping the Finn Balor Nakamura match from segments that aired in prior weeks. Duke, how'd you like that match?
I thought it was great.
Did you really?
I did.
I have to watch it again then, because it was the commercial breaks that killed it for me. I think it's on the WWE network. All the commercial breaks are non-paid advertisement, but yet they broke it up like 3 times, I think, during the match. If it was a special match, if it was a pay-per-view feel match, it didn't feel that way to me. Once the bell rang and all the initial chants and all that kind of stopped, because once the chants were happening during the introductions, I'm like, all right, this is cool. Here it goes. And then during the match, I'm like, oh, this is really nothing special to me. Like the Nakamura Sami Zayn match blew that out of the water. Yeah. And I was expecting something on the same level at least, but maybe it was the commercial breaks. I will watch it again since you liked it. But I don't know. I just felt like the episode was totally flat. Maybe because we didn't have like 2 matches leading up to it. Maybe because they made it all about Finn Balor and Nakamura. And then like I got that match and I really wasn't overly impressed for the hype within the TV show. But I'll give it another go. I didn't like the fact that Finn Balor was working over Nakamura's leg for like 8 minutes, like taking the knee strikes and taking the kicks out of play, and then like Nakamura was just knee striking and kicking him like seconds later. I'm just, I think that took the wind out of the sail.
That always bothers you, which
always bothers me.
It is illogical.
I don't know.
It is illogical, but so
I was just like, well, you don't work on Darren Young's arms, and then all of a sudden he puts you in a cross-faced chicken wing anyway. But I think that's too soon. So I don't
um,
know why that was the first analogy to come to my head.
but I thought it was a great match. I think that match, and you're right. The commercial breaks definitely took away from it, and it doesn't hold a candle to Nakamura Zayn because of it. I think that match was more for the live audience. Um,
Yeah, I can get that because it's Finn's swan song
it's a swan
allegedly.
song.
So
Yeah, yeah. So I could see that being more for his goodbye to Full Sail, and then
he should have been the demon.
yeah.
It's really like that bothered me too.
Well, there's one thing with that though. The Demon has one loss in NXT, and that was in the cage. That was it. So,
But if you're not going to be in NXT anymore, and you're passing the torch and it's your swan song, you should come out like the people.
well, there's something we haven't seen from Nakamura yet in WWE that can come later that involves the Demon. So I say save that for the main roster. So there's
Okay.
the yeah. We'll get that in a second. I'll
But you're acting like NXT, like WWE even cares about people even remembering things that happened 2 weeks ago. To even say that they could have used it in NXT and then used it in Raw, and people would have remembered.
Oh, you know who does care? Pepperidge Farm cares. No,
Pepper Farm remembers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Triple H cares, and he protects his boys as long as he can in NXT. So there's something he's seen from past feuds with these two that I know he wants to use on the main roster as soon as he can, or not as soon as he can, but when it's the right time. And
that also brings up the argument: what is his influence on the main roster, storyline wise?
Right.
But
yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
I liked it. I liked it. I think it was more for the live audience. The commercials did take away from it. However, what the TV viewer saw was Finn Balor working heel very, very aggressively.
I didn't take that away. I didn't.
You definitely need to rewatch it because he
looked the same as in every other match to me.
He was working heel. I mean, the whole focusing a body part. He never does that. He never.
That's not heel though. Heel is low blows, eye gouge.
I get what you're saying, but he was aggressively and ruthlessly attacking a body part just nonstop. Never gave Shinsuke time to recover from anything. There was no respect during the match. Yes, there was afterward, but I think that was a glimpse of who he can be as maybe the leader of the club, something like that. So I think to me, that's what I took away from it, and that's what I think the point was for the viewer to see this really extremely, extremely maliciously aggressive Finn Balor. And that's what I took away from it.
So full disclosure here, I like Finn Balor. I enjoy watching Finn Balor. I'm not the biggest Finn Balor fan. I think you got this impression over time. I just don't think any of his moves in his moveset just like overly wow me to the point where like his finishing move is kind of like just a double stomp. I don't like his moveset or whatever enough to be like, this is the guy I want to see all the time. But except for months past where I was just like, it makes no sense for him to go to the main roster. Well, now you have the brand split. That's number one. So that's kind of like and he's got the out in NXT with the losing the match to Nakamura kind of thing and his swan song and all that stuff. So like those two alone make it like logical that Finn Balor shows up on the main roster. But add to that like the height of the club on top of that, like everything right now is in line for Finn Balor to make his main roster debut. And I'd be very surprised if he's not drafted on Tuesday.
Yeah, especially, and that's the timing of all this is actually, I got to give WWE a little credit for all the talk that they had, like no plans for the brand split. they sure have lined some things up really, really well.
It's like in perfect line for like Finn Balor.
Yeah,
Everything,
yeah,
everything is
yeah.
in line for Finn Balor.
Which means obviously on Tuesday, Balor's music will hit and Bailey will debut.
It's so that's the oh man, I forgot about our own trope from like 2 weeks ago. Everything's in line for Finn Balor, so Bailey's debuting on Monday. So there we go. Uh, Cruiserweight Classic. Here we go. Ready for this?
Yeah.
I got 4 quick points and an overall grade because I graded it.
All right.
1, I'm very disappointed with the bracketology show because it wasn't bracketology. It was just like an introduction to the Cruiserweight Classic. I really wanted to see like full on ESPN NCAA bracketology type stuff.
Yeah, I didn't
where
really
they
like
went
it.
in depth on every match in the first round to say this guy's from here, this guy's from here, and they only did that with maybe 60% of the matches, but like in like 1 minute segments, and then they spent time on more focusing it on other people to be like, well, I focused it on these people, the other people don't matter, so here's your final 8.
Yeah, I didn't really like it as a bracket show. I liked hearing the backstories of guys, but I feel like
enjoyed it.
We could have gotten that from the CWC itself.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was disappointed though.
Yeah, no, I get you. And the other thing I didn't like then and didn't like during the CWC either, which I hope they make an adjustment, even though probably most of it's in the can. But I really don't like Corey being on a full green screen stage. It looks so awkward. Like I wish there was.
Isn't the Raw pre-show like a full green screen stage anyway?
Well, they have they have a real desk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's just like there's still some element of a tangible.
Well, that's playing up the whole bracketology ESPN kind of thing,
so.
Where you have like whatever Jay Billis in front of a green
it just
screen.
Feels
Weatherman style.
The lighting of it isn't that good either, so it just for all the production, for all the high production value that WWE can typically get out of things, I feel like that's being phoned in a little bit, and I didn't really like it. But anyway, that's definitely nitpicking. So anyway,
number 1 on my list of nitpicking though for the CWC is their ring setup, and the ring setup in the same spot, but I mean the entryway mostly than anything else. They don't use the traditional NXT ramp and entrance. They have that diagonal entrance to the locker room. Yep. That means like the dives have to be like awkwardly done, like diagonal in the ring. And you already seen like 2 things that were like semi-botched because of it.
Yep.
Whereas if they just used a regular ramp, it'd just be like a straight run from the ropes over.
Yep.
It's just I don't like that. I don't know why they did it. I don't know if
they're having to avoid the ramp.
Yeah. I don't know if they did it because they just want it to look different on TV and don't want it to make it appear like it's taped in the same place, especially following the show it's taped in the same building of.
Sure.
Or I don't know if it's like like one of those unwritten rules or whatever. It's like, hey, we invited you guys here, but if you want to walk down that ramp, you've got to earn it. We're not letting you walk down that ramp. You've got to prove yourself, earn it, get a contract, and then you can walk down the ramp. I don't know if it's like one of those stupid things,
I could see it being both of those things. There's one other thing it could be too, though.
What's that?
I suspect that that the ramp placement is going to be used. That like at the moment they're having a hard time, or we've seen them have a hard time avoiding it, and it's caused a couple of problems so far. But I suspect that we're going to see some people maybe vault over the corner onto the ramp or something like that, or maybe come off of the corner, the top onto the ramp. I suspect that it will be used to people's advantage.
Moonsault from the top rope onto the guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it could be, but yeah.
So but yeah, it's well, especially with Sean's really scary, botch that or mostly a botch, not 95% botch. That was That was 100% because he was having to go right toward the
Who's Sean?
corner. Sean Mulata, the Samoan.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I
Yep.
wrote down the Samoan,
Yep.
so that's why I only knew his last name. So.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
he wasn't wrestling as Sean though.
Yeah, Sean Mulata. That was his name.
He was wrestling as Sean. Okay, I
Yep.
thought he had a different name. I thought he had a weird name, but okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that was on my list, and then Graham Metallic
Yep.
also had a like a dive off the rope and kind of like
Yep.
I don't know what he did, but it kind of like clipped a little bit. But what do you feel about heels in the tournament?
I feel they've been really good.
No. Okay, take away from what you saw.
Oh, okay.
And what your expectation of the tournament was. Did you think it was going to be 32 guys that were going to be like handshake before the match and technical respect in the ring, or did you think they were going to have heels?
Yeah, that is hard. That's hard to say. I don't know that I necessarily expected people to really heel out as much as they did on the first
I didn't
episode.
expect a no handshake. Let's say that.
Yeah, especially in the second match. Yeah.
Yeah, second match. And I don't know, like, as soon as I saw that, like, it's funny because once I saw the first handshake, I'm like, this is cool. That'd be a cool thing for everybody to shake hands. And then when they did the final, like, boxing style winner of the match is, even though the guy lost, it's not a split decision kind of thing, and not a go to the scorecards kind of thing. The handshake afterwards, I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. I'm down with this. And then as soon as like the non-handshake happened, it's silly, but I'm like, man, that sucked. I really wish they just continued that trend. And then at the same time, I'm like, please tell me in like the second round or the quarterfinals or whatever, there's not going to be somebody who lost who's going to come to the ring and try to dictate,
Yeah, I thought
somebody
of that too.
winning or losing, and then like that's how they're going to fill like the final show with the final match, and they have these like grudge matches that stem from it. I'm like, please don't do that.
Yeah, I thought of that too. What I would like to see as far as some of these heels, and it was kind of weird having all the heels lose, but
did they really? Like, I gotta
Yeah.
think about that. Yeah, I guess they did.
yeah, all the heels lost. So it would, I think it would be interesting if some of these heels reappear on NXT.
Well, I
which
know
I
that they
suspect
taped.
is what's happening. So
A few of them taped. I don't know which ones, but a few of them were involved in the NXT tapings for this week, not
Right.
as like contracted wrestlers, but as whatever. But I'm
Right.
also disappointed the introductions weren't shown on TV. The whole parade of champions kind of thing, the whole come to the ring, everyone gets announced. I'm really upset about that. Was that like an online exclusive only thing
it was on Facebook.
on Facebook? Okay.
They've been using Facebook a lot for things lately.
Yeah, I know.
so.
I know. Still not signing up. Still not reactivating.
No, it's
my
fine.
account,
Yeah, well,
because I'm not
a
a
lot of times
senior
I
in high
just
school.
a lot of times I just follow a link to it.
Yeah.
And maybe watch it, maybe I don't. So, yep.
So like between the bracketology not doing its job doing that, and then like the first episode not really doing that as well, I was kind of like a little disappointed, but not so much that it ruined it. Like I really thought it was the best thing of the week.
Well, yeah,
I thought the matches were great. Like the guy from Chile, I was like really pleasantly surprised with him. Like
Yeah.
he was a little bit unique,
yeah,
and I'm like, wow.
size.
Yeah, like the one count, and then he gets up and he's like, that was
three.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I got this guy's my favorite. I'm like, I'm buying 8x10s now, and I'm going online to do it. The Samoan, your boy, he looked good too. In
Man,
the loss.
he looked, and that was the only.
I thought he was going to get that win.
That was the only face versus face match too, and he looked crazy good, and I mean it helps to be in the ring with someone like Ibushi who can sell things like literally like he's being hit by a car every single time.
Well, he got kicked
him.
in the face pretty good, and he sold it like he got kicked in the face.
Yeah, exactly. I mean
That was pretty good.
That's maybe one of the best super kicks I've seen in a very, very,
God.
very long time.
There's no one in the room I watched it with that didn't react to that.
Yeah.
Because it was a kick to the face.
Yeah, and what was cool, and I read some people say this, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but after they said it, I'm like, oh, you're right. They were selling that kick before the match even started. They were saying he has an amazing Sabat kick that despite everything despite all the kicks Ibushi can throw out, he's going to have to watch out for this from Mulata, and sure enough, when it happened, they they sold the crap out of it then too, and even sold it afterward. I mean,
I wonder if that was post-produced, the production, the announcing of that, or if it was done live, and it was just like,
oh man,
it
the sure sounds it's oh you mean like the sort of leading up to it?
Like they knew the kick took place, and then they planted the seeds for the kick beforehand, or they just said this guy is a good kicker, and then it just they knew it was going to happen in the match at one time, and then just whatever. It's like saying like, oh, Seth Rollins is going to use a pedigree. Watch out for his pedigree. Oh, he hit the pedigree. Or they watched the match and they knew Seth Rollins won and used the pedigree, so they kind of dropped that. I don't know about that, but I wasn't. Listen, the whole package was so good. I wasn't thinking, hey, did they pre-record this or post-record the commentating? I just enjoyed it. It was just really good.
Yeah, and that will get us to another high point in the broadcast. I just want to read something someone said about the about Sean Mulata though. They said, on the one hand, this match was so good that I wish they let Sean go farther on in the tournament to make it all the more awesome. On the other hand, I went from hyped for this tournament to a deeper understanding of the life of Mojo, as I can no longer not be hyped about the CWC.
When the Samoan lost, I said to myself, man, I wish this was like double elimination. Because between that guy and the guy from Chile, and I'm just going to announce them from what country they come from because I'll butcher their names.
Well, and the French guy too was he was a great heel.
He was a good heel. He was a good heel, and Daivari was. I don't know if I was into Daivari too much.
Yeah,
but I think he's just too new. Like I think he's too like green. But I don't. Who did he fight? I don't even remember who he fought. That's how much Cedric Alexander.
Did he fight Cedric? Yeah, he fought
Cedric Alexander won. So I'm surprised Cedric Alexander got the biggest pop as he did, and I don't think it's because he was the guy from USA fighting the guy from Iran. I think I underestimate the crowd's reaction in that building when guys come over from Ring of Honor, TNA, and especially New Japan.
Cedric was fantastic. I hate that. I hate and love that it's he and Ibushi in the next round, but
almost as much as I hate that they put Gargano and Ciampa in the first round.
Yeah, I know.
But you know what?
But the best line of bracketology came from talking about that match, by the way.
Which is what?
Everything's super serious and calling it like a sport the whole time during bracketology, and the one line that Graves snuck through was,
I hope these both guys lose.
But I hope they both lose.
I hope they both lose. You're right. As soon as you said that, I remembered it, and I'm like, because he's like, oh, it's so great to see Kendrick back, and like in the next breath, it's like, oh, we have this match. I hope both guys lose.
Yeah.
But all right, so here we go. Want to talk about foreshadowing? And I don't know results from anything, but if I'm right, then nobody's gonna believe me. But the first ever WWE pay-per-view. Pop quiz. What was it?
I mean, was it not WrestleMania? I guess
no, it was not. That was closed circuit. That wasn't pay-per-view.
Oh,
first ever wrestling WWE pay-per-view was something called the Wrestling Challenge.
Okay.
And it was a tournament that, spoiler alert, it happened in 1985. If you didn't watch it by now, go screw yourself. Junkyard Dog won the tournament. First round match, Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper. How do you get bigger than that in 1985 or 1986, whatever it was, than Hogan versus Piper?
Yeah, wow.
Double count out, double disqualification, time limit draw, something. I think it was double DQ, actually.
And we actually have time limits on these matches.
We actually have time limits, and they said it more than once. Gargano, Ciampa. Like, Gargano's my pick to win it all because it's an NXT employed guy or whatever, and he's like Johnny Wrestling or whatever. He's just got the whole name. He's got everything built to win this tournament to be the first ever champion. What would happen if that match went 20-minute time limit draw?
Oh,
do you think that's a fitting outcome to kind of protect both guys?
I think it is, and I think it jives. Not to spoil anything, I don't know anything about the matches either, but that's another news item that you missed probably this week. But Ciampa announced that his very last independent date is in September.
I didn't see that actually. I would have. Okay,
Yeah.
so he's then full time. Well,
So
he's already under contract, so it's not like.
yeah, but that's like
I guess he has
yeah.
special consideration.
So
Him and
from that
Gargano have like special
yeah, so from
consideration with
that
the
point
layout.
forward though, he's like that. He's a WWE guy at that point.
So they split up at Brooklyn. They lose the match to Revival. Next TV tapings, they split up, feud with each other, and then they're basically fighting each other. Gargano and Ciampa revisiting the rivalry from the CWC.
Sounds good.
I don't know. I don't know if I want them both out of the match, but I kind of didn't want them both wrestling each other first. You know, but whatever. But overall, it was a 9 out of 10. I would watch it again. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, I will watch it again multiple times.
It was pretty good. Pretty good.
The one thing I will say about Gargano and Ciampa, the one thing that's or Ciampa, whichever one it is, the one thing about them doing that early is that you don't have to. I mean, they're sort of young guys in NXT, so you're eliminating one of them at least, unless it does what you said and there's a double count out. You're eliminating one of them early, so it decreases or it lessens the perception of WWE just wants to put their own guys over.
Well,
You know what
this
I mean?
is my question to you then. Business wise, smart wise, logically for the WWE, is it better to have your own guy win this tournament or have somebody you don't have control over on the contract as far as past these dates to where they can win this and then all of a sudden flip over somewhere else and then be like, that guy was the best of the best over there and he's now here kind of thing, like if it was
Well, I suspect the guy who won is under contract with them by now. You know what I mean?
did they tape the whole thing yet or did they not?
No, they must not have. Now that I say that, because a guy was going to a taping last night and was putting up tickets online. So yeah, I guess they're still taping it, but I mean, obviously they've got I'm sure they have everything mapped out,
Yeah.
and they just have backup plans for injuries or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are they really going to put over some guy like Grand Metalik, who maybe or maybe not will sign an NXT contract after this, and then like he'll be the first winner, the honorable person to have his name in the history books as being the first.
They'll put
and
over.
Then he's like never in the company ever again.
They'll put over Ibushi.
They'll put over Ibushi because they can probably get Ibushi under contract if they haven't already.
If they haven't already, right?
Hush, hush. They'll probably put over Gargano. They'll probably put over, they can even put over Rich Swann because he's under contract.
True.
But they really does it make logical sense for them to put over anybody else who they have no control over past these tapings? And probably not.
Not necessarily, no, unless Triple H is really committed to, hey, we can do this just like New Japan does. We can be a place where people can come in from the outside. And, of course, New Japan puts their own guys over, don't they? Do they ever really have an outsider come in and win?
It's hard for me to say, and I was thinking about this when I watched it.
Yeah.
Because when I watched the Super J Cups or whatever from 92, 93, I was watching them in 96, 97.
Right. So
I knew
you don't know.
WCW.
Right.
I didn't know where they were back then.
Right.
I know Jericho was in World Wrestling Association R or whatever, War. Whatever that was, and then
I've let you get away with that too long. WAR stood for Wrestling and Romance.
Wrestling and Romance, did it really?
Yes. Jericho says it on his podcast.
Too long. I think this is the first time I said it, wasn't it?
Oh no, you say it all the time. Wrestling Association R. You say it all the time.
I swear I read somewhere like it was Wrestling Association R. And It always tripped me up because I didn't know if the R was really like the wrestling and like, but no, W means wrestling, not R.
Yeah, well,
Wrestling and romance. Okay,
I think a lot of
that
people
I remember that now.
don't actually know what it stands for, and so people probably have just rumor milled it and not really found out what it
I'm
means.
repeating like the first ever meme from like
Yeah.
'96, Wrestling
Yeah.
Association R.
But it's like that weird lost in translation type stuff with Asian culture where you know it means something better in their language, but for us it's wrestling and romance because that's kind of what it is. You know,
War Wrestling Promotion, Wrestling and Romance, and then later Wrestling Association R is a shoot style of pro wrestling, so they're both right.
Okay.
So I will look at what date it changed, and then I'll go back in the history books and I'll figure out when I was right, when I was wrong. But it was both, and I swear I remember the ring apron, the curtain on the ring saying Wrestling Association R.
Maybe
because R was like a big,
maybe
big,
when Jericho was there, it was wrestling and romance, so that's why he says that. Yeah,
maybe, or it could have been just like could have been wrestling and romance in Japan, but everywhere else it was Wrestling Association R because it just sounded stupid or whatever. But okay, so CWC is pretty good. You watched SmackDown tonight?
Yeah, I did.
All right, real quick. I thought it was a nice homage. I said it just like I wrote it.
Way to go.
A nice homage to what SmackDown was really like particularly known for, where you had like the main event be a singles match turned into a tag team match. I don't even know if that was intentional, but like to have the last, like considering it the last SmackDown ever, but it's not, like the last Thursday night tape SmackDown ever, have that trope. I'm like, that was pretty cool. The Sasha Banks Dana Brooke match was far better than the Monday night match.
Way better.
A lot shorter.
Way better.
A lot shorter. A lot better. It was really good. And I'm really sold on Darren Young. I always liked the primetime players. I just never liked Darren Young and Titus O'Neil being singles wrestlers.
Well, what was funny was early on, I'm like, man, everybody's killing it except Darren, and this is supposed to be his story. This isn't good. This isn't good. Then he fired up, and it's like, holy crap, he's good.
When he fired up, I'm like, that's the guy. I'm like, this guy's
good. I'm on board. I'm on board. And that was that was like what was happening. Like that was my reaction. I always like a lot of times I follow the Reddit now, the live thread that's going, but I don't follow it live. I'll get my reaction to something and then I'll refresh the thread to see, what people were saying when I was thinking the things I was thinking. And then just kind of throw in if I want to, or just keep reading, or realize that people are stupid on the internet. But we're on the internet. Holy crap! Anyway,
yeah, but we're not stupid.
Exactly.
There you go.
All those guys in stupid.
Can't be stupid. We named the 1992 Japanese wrestling promotion and gave both names it was referred to by.
I know. We
There's
are
no
smart
stupid about that.
We are smart extraordinaires. So
Reddit can't do that unless they have a tab open to Wikipedia.
So anywho, but
fight me IRL, Reddit. Let's go.
Like the way it was going in the thread was kind of the same way too. People were like, "Oh, Bob Backlund is so good. Just let him talk the whole time." "Oh, Maurice, that was so mean. What nice burn, Maurice." Sort of sarcastic, but at the same time, it was just like that was actually pretty good. And then everybody turns as soon as Darren fires up, and it's just like, "Where's this guy been?" Like this is like Darren's always been this sort of odd man out, unassuming guy who can go in the ring, but you never really see a lot of personality from him. But man, getting in Miz's face was actually super legit and kind of came across almost as a shoot. It was great.
He went from the Saturday Night Live cast member who can't keep a straight face during any segment to like the box office smash in like start to finish. I'm like we're not a Bob Backlund household because we're an 80s wrestling family and 70s before that with my older brothers and my dad.
Sure.
So we're not a Bob Backlund household. We've never liked them.
Right.
And I get that feeling, not like the Ric Flair feeling, but still kind of the same feeling whenever Bob Backlund's around. Like it's kind of like oh God, just don't do anything stupid. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't overreact. Don't, whatever. And they kept him pretty much out of it today. They're out of it entirely today. And they let Darren Young be the focus. And I'm like, well, is this the first time ever we had like a vignette of somebody in recent memory where like as soon as the vignettes stopped, they actually did something with the guy and put him over.
Well, I wonder how surprised they were on Monday that people actually started chanting for Darren. Like,
That was, I mean, that was pretty that was pretty nice. I
yeah,
like that.
yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, even though it was weird booking, but it made sense. It was logical booking for what was going on with his character, but it was really interesting that people like just bought in with no real reason to, and I think maybe I don't know, maybe Vince saw that and was just like, huh, I think we might have something here, and
They
then
always like the primetime players though.
true enough, true enough,
You know what I mean? No, I'm not squashing your argument. I'm supporting it.
yeah.
They've always liked the primetime players, so it's like not surprising they wouldn't like Darren Young and Titus O'Neil as well. But given what they've done with these guys singles wise, the last time they broke up to this time when they just all of a sudden broke up for no reason, they just stopped wrestling together. Um, like it's always like, well, these guys are going to be mediocre, like at the Jack Swagger kind of level where they are, where he is right now. And then all of a sudden, like they start chanting his name, and I'm like it's not shocking that Darren Young won that battle royal with all the vignettes going on with him, and this is his first time back. You can kind of look back and be like, well, I was dumb not to say like it was logical that he would win, but you kind of didn't get that feeling when it happened. And the way they did it, where he wasn't involved in the final elimination, it's like, well, you just kind of built two storylines at one time. Now Apollo and what's Baron Corbin can do what they did in NXT, which
Thank you,
by the way.
Thank you.
At the same time, because they did the same thing in another battle royal. Well, not the same thing, but kind of that feud in NXT stemmed from a battle royal.
And again, fired up Apollo Crews taking it to Baron Corbin is the best Apollo Crews we've seen.
Apollo Crews wrestling where the announce staff doesn't call him Titus O'Neil for the first half of the match.
Yeah,
is a better Apollo Crews.
Fair enough. Yeah, it was bad. That was really.
That was pretty bad. And I kept saying, "Where is Titus? I can't see Titus."
Yeah, that was.
I'm like, I didn't know he was in this match. And
just
then
like
sudden,
for all the times people call WWE racist, it's just like, here it comes.
Here it comes.
There it is.
Power.
Oh boy.
All right. So, by the way, Terry Crews is building a gaming PC. I don't know where that comes from, but it's on the internet. So,
Game and Wrestling Connection right here.
It's got to be right. Game and Wrestling and Terry Crews Connection. We got to rename ourselves.
Yep.
We just made the acronym longer. Let me ask you a couple questions here.
All right, and let's close it out with this.
Draft speculation. Draft brand extension speculation here. I got a couple questions here for you.
All right, go.
Let's decide what the better things are. One, should there be two world champions?
When all this talk first started, I would have said no. Now, especially with the number, I mean, it's up in the air, but especially with the fact that we suspect a lot of people coming up from NXT, I think yes.
I think yes, too. I think
yes.
Two champions always helps when it comes to, like, feuds and keeping people, like, notable and realistically as contenders.
Well, and especially if they're really building them as two separate brands, like they really are.
What if the guy for a whole month is a champion and he's splitting time between the two shows, and his next pay-per-view match is against the guy on Raw? Does that make like SmackDown like meaningless then when it comes to the champion on that show? It kind of does.
It kind of does, and more times than not, you would most likely have that happening where SmackDown always takes the back seat, which
will be a B show.
Yeah, which just makes it, little SmackDown again. Which you don't want.
Except live, for now.
Right?
But okay,
right.
Same trend: two women's titles, or hear me out.
Okay,
two women's titles, or one show have a women's championship and the other have the women's tag team titles, or leave it just one women's championship.
I would like to see women's tag team, but that means they really need a bigger women's roster.
They can still, you can load it up with 4 more people from NXT in a snap, and have Alicia Fox, Naomi, and everybody else who's off camera right now back.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, and that would. I would prefer that to be. I like the idea of a champion on one show and tag champions on another. I really like that, and I like the idea of resurrecting that, and I like the fact that maybe they could switch places from time to time when you have the crossover show. You know, the quote unquote big pay-per-views that are
majors.
Majors. There you go. When you have the majors where everyone's involved, then you could have things switch sides where Shane or whoever or the GM says, "Hey, they're not leaving my show. That title's coming with us." You know, and
it's the logistics behind which show has the women's champion, which show had the tag team titles, and how do you get them on both shows, and how do you get the women from other shows to contend from the other show's title is really the only drawback there. It's just like you got to kind of fabricate somehow through pay-per-views and stuff.
But, well, I mean, the fact that you do have them colliding from time to time, though, makes it possible. But yeah, you have to have some sort of lead up to it.
Yeah, if Sasha and Becky Lynch are your tag team champions, then there's no way they're going to be women's champion because the women's championship is on the other show. So you got to kind of get them into the other show or have it cross over or have it, make up rules for something we're just making up in the top of our head anyway. So it doesn't matter. But same question. Tag team titles, two sets of tag team titles. One show have a tag team championship. The other have a 6-men tag title, or leave it just one tag team championship.
Oh, I'd love to have a trios. It's long overdue for us to have a trios title in WWE.
How can a major promotion not have a 6-man tag title in the United States in like 40 years?
I know, it's really weird, especially since it's so popular.
So many of them.
It's so popular elsewhere, and I mean, I would love, and it seems like SmackDown would be more the place for this to happen. I would love to see it be like Lucha Underground's, where it's intergender. I think that would be amazing.
Well, that's the whole PG rating stuff that plays into that. Men hitting women.
Yeah,
like
I guess so.
So that's. I mean, I'd like to see it too. I mean, but I like to see it kind of like we discussed this.
But does SmackDown need to be PG?
It's hung up on the rafters, and anyone can come down and claim it. And this is when the whole women's revolution was happening. And we're like, Team PCB will just come down to the ring one time, grab a ladder, and claim it themselves. But silly little thing like that. All right, here we go.
I would like to see your idea though. Tag on one, trios on the other.
Yeah, me too. Except I would put the trios on Raw because it's just a longer show. It's probably the only reason I would do that. But
sure.
But or on SmackDown because it's a new title and it's a new thing for live. Whatever, doesn't matter. Should each show bring back one abandoned title? And here's my example: Raw brings back the TV title. SmackDown brings back the Cruiserweight title. So you have two. If you have a champion in each division, and you have the women's and the tag titles being split between the two brands, then you have the Intercontinental on one, U.S. title on the other, but then you have another mid-card title to kind of just bolster the roster and do more with more people.
I don't know about those specific titles. They kind of make sense. I almost wonder if the European Championship would be
okay. European instead of TV title. I was struggling to find like another singles title that wasn't hardcore.
Yeah, I think European title it would be an interesting thing to bring back, especially since there's a European holding the U.S. title at the moment. So that would be that could be an interesting way.
Maybe you don't put the European and the U.S. title on the same brand.
That's true.
You put them on different brands, and then you do something gimmicky where one person holds both down the line, and then unifies them, and you get rid of the European title again. Whatever they do. But yeah, okay, European title over TV title, Cruiserweight title.
I mean, it doesn't have to be. It's just, but yeah, it seems the Cruiserweight title is a no-brainer because last night was the very first CWC. I suspect it only gets better from here. So they'll work out kinks as they go, and people will get sold on guys that keep progressing through the rounds. So yeah, I suspect this whole tournament is going to show Vince and investors how much money there is in cruiserweights.
I think that someone's going to open their eyes eventually and be like, hey, listen, this is not the early 90s. This is not the 80s We don't have like, couple people excluded. We don't have these big monster bodies coming into wrestling anymore. But at the same time, the younger, fresh faces are not getting as over as we like them to get in some situations. So a cruiserweight title or like another lower tier mid card title would help that in such a way where they can propel somebody from a lower ranked title. And you know how I like my progression and my rankings and my order. Take Tyler Breeze, he becomes a cruiserweight champion, and you make him a good cruiserweight champion. Then he's like, people get into the fact when he's going to wrestle for a U.S. title down the line. I don't know. That's just something that I feel like it's missing.
I like it.
Okay. Should Night of Champions be a major pay-per-view that features at least one champion versus champion match, both belts on the line, where the winner defends both titles on both products until he's dethroned of one or the other?
I like that idea. I don't know that they'll do it, but I like it.
You're Seth versus John Cena, title for title, and then Seth had to wrestle twice, U.S. title and heavyweight title, until he lost, at least one of them. But whatever. They're probably not going to do it, but that's some speculation. General managers, Raw, SmackDown. Who are your guesses?
Well, we picked stuff when we did our actual draft show. Are you substituting our draft show right now? Is that what you're doing?
I'm just saying. Okay. Listen, this is.
Are you making it where I don't have to produce that?
No, still produce it. I still want. I still work very hard on my my lists and picks and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're also a couple of weeks after the fact, and we kind of like a little bit smarter to what they're doing. And we know the answer is not going to be Shane and Stephanie.
Yeah, that's true. So a lot of people are talking about Daniel Bryan. I think if they wanted to mess with this, and if they wanted to balance out Stephanie, they would put Daniel Bryan on Raw.
But Stephanie's picking, so that kind of like. That's the only reason I put Daniel Bryan on SmackDown.
Yeah, but hang on.
Yeah.
If Shane gets first pick, and it's obvious that Stephanie is going to pick Triple H, because
he picks Triple H, that'd be great.
And he picks Triple H to keep Triple H under his thumb because there's the seeds planted from the podcast and all that. So, and the fact that Triple H hasn't been on the show since WrestleMania. Yeah. And Shane has. So
that's your guess too. Triple H on one, Daniel Bryan on the other.
I think that makes sense, and I think it would be. I think it would be interesting if they juxtapose them to balance out. You got good guy Shane. You put him with his, brother-in-law who they supposedly hate each other. So
I like that.
That's pretty cool. And then
I like that.
You've got the balance of Stephanie and Daniel Bryan, a guy that she can't slap because he has because he has concussions.
I like both ideas. I put Triple H on Raw logically to kind of reform the I always like the authority. I always like the bad guys in charge pissing people off.
I'm over it.
Then you have the good guys on SmackDown. That's supposed to be like this smart Mark friendly show. And you have Shane, everyone loves Shane, and Daniel Bryan, everyone loves Daniel Bryan doing things that everyone loves. And you have on Raw some shenanigans. I kind of like it both ways. I wouldn't be.
But you can have NXT style booking with Triple H on SmackDown because he can start not necessarily being a good guy, but being a little more neutral and just not someone who's not going to take crap off of anybody. But someone who's really loyal to no one.
But this is the main roster. If they put Triple H to Daniel Bryan, Triple H to SmackDown with Shane McMahon, they're not going to create an NXT atmosphere. They can create a rivalry and a power struggle between McMahon and the son-in-law. They're not going to all of a sudden play nice, as far as I've seen from WWE's history. You know what I mean? Trades. Would you like trades to happen?
Like during the draft?
Not during the draft, not during, just like Tyler Breeze was traded for Jack Swagger. Just stuff that happens a couple weeks down the line where it's just like, well, they got to shift some guys around to create a little bit more, I don't know, whatever it may be, better.
I think it would be interesting to do that in regard to championships when you want
that's what they did in the past. They would trade the U.S. title, the champions U.S. title for the Intercontinental title.
Right.
or they wouldn't trade the titles per se. They would just trade the people that held them.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean.
That's how they got the
Which
gold back on Big Gold on SmackDown and WWE spinning title on Raw.
yeah, which could be how you transition the women is instead of moving the women to the title, you move the title to the women. Like what you were talking about where
Yeah.
you have ladies on one show that really should be vying for the title, but the title's on the other show. Well, you move the title over or you trade, if you were to have some sort of other women's title, then you can switch them.
I think a couple weeks ago I came up with the
like
idea that it was just like, well, if Charlotte's fighting Sasha Banks on Raw, then SmackDown's determining who the number one contender is for the winner of that for the next pay-per-view.
Yeah,
next month or whatever it is. But
which is totally viable, and that means there's an actual chase for something.
But there's 2 pay-per-views a month.
Yeah.
So they can be a feud on both ends. Charlotte can be feuding with 2 people and have to take care of 2 people on 2 separate live specials, pay-per-views. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they're going to alternate, like women's title's not going to be defended this show, but it's next like every other show, just to whatever. But all right.
Joey Styles said on Twitter, like right when they started talking about the thing, the extension split, whatever you want to call it. His dream world is they are treated like separate entities, and so you have a men's championship, a women's championship, a men's tag, and a women's tag. Like there's like 4 championships on each show. That was his dream scenario.
No keeping the U.S. Title or Intercontinental title, just that's it. Those are the 4 titles.
Well, I mean, he just said, men's singles, men's tag, women's singles, women's tag would be his. That would be his pick because he's always he always says things that it's just like, how do you get away with saying stuff like that as a WWE employee? And it's not like they're bad things. It's just like he says stuff that's like not necessarily the corporate. It's not corporate speak. It's just him.
Right.
He just talks. He's not rude or stupid or anything like that. He just gives his actual opinion on things, like giving his opinion on Morrow for the CWC. He's just like someone calling wrestling like a sporting event in North America. It's been a long time. That's what he said today on Twitter.
Nice. That was nice.
Yeah.
All right. Major shows, brand versus brand, or keep it within your separate brands and just have like a compilation of matches from both shows.
I wouldn't do brand versus brand.
I wouldn't either.
Except maybe down, right? Survivor Series.
Maybe one match in Survivor Series and maybe one-off matches here and there.
Yeah, but
if they start doing it like every time, it kind of waters it down. And it's kind of like, well, then what's the point? We're not really really exclusive then.
I mean, to me, that would make a lot of sense for guys trading over. Would be you have a match and well, man, but that's shaky territory. Loser goes to this other show. It's just like,
yeah. At the end of the day, it's all predetermined anyway. So it's like if they want to do it that way, that's their payoff to do it. Then they'll do it that way. If
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just started thinking about it as I was saying that. I'm like, but then doesn't that sort of denigrate the show that the quote unquote loser is going to? Unless you can
does, but.
Well, you can tell that story. You can tell that story right. So just super quick, you can tell that story right where a guy just wants to get away from someone, and so like he's actually running from someone, and so his out is if I win this match, I go to the other show. So it's not a matter of the loser is being punished. It's a matter of the winner is getting his way, something like that.
Or a knockdown, drag out feud where the loser has to leave the show that they love. That kind of works.
Sure.
To not denigrate the other show.
Sure.
Okay. We're over the part where SmackDown's now going to still feature 30 minutes recapping Raw.
It has to. It has to be its own show, doesn't it? Isn't that the whole point of this?
Well, if they spend 10 minutes recapping Raw, that's fine, but they also have to recap SmackDown on Raw too, which is not the day after, it's 6 days later, so it's kind of like I just like it. Just annoys me to watch SmackDown and 30 minutes of every SmackDown is just Raw recap.
Yeah,
I hate that.
yeah. I saw someone make that same comment today. They're just like,
What's the most
hopefully
hokey?
this is the last week we see that.
Yeah, here's the last question I have. If you have any, let me know.
No, I'm good.
Here, what's the hokiest thing you think we're going to see on the draft? Some corny cornball pick, some off the wall loophole that one McMahon pulls over the other's eyes, whatever it may be.
I don't know so much corny, but possibly disappointing would be like splitting up Enzo and Cass.
I really wish they would just draft tag teams as tag teams.
I do too.
And just
like we did.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah,
we
and
did.
absolutely just say that. Be like, you can pick any superstar or the tag team of the superstar starting after round 5, let's say. Like, just to make up rules for a made-up show. Where if you wanted Enzo on your team, you'd have to pick him single before round 5. But after round 5, you can just draft tag teams as tag teams.
Right. They have to be a top. If you want them as a single, they have to be a top pick.
Yeah.
So you have to sacrifice other top picks to
I'm
split
thinking
up a tag team.
I'm thinking some of these picks are going to go off the wall, and like a legend's going to be picked or something like Hacksaw Jim Duggan or Sergeant Slaughter or
yeah.
Steve
I
Blackman
wondered
or
if
something.
stuff like that might happen.
You know, something corny, Steve Blackman or whatever. The one thing I think we're going to see, well, no, it happens before. Well, maybe it works better happening before Battleground. Wyatt's are on one side, New Day's on the other side, except for Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
He's on the Wyatt side. So
right.
that last match, that Battleground match, is the last time the 3 New Day people are going to be together.
For a while,
and then,
at least.
And then Xavier turns on New Day, and he goes to the Wyatt family on the other program. And then, like, there's no, like, retribution because they're on 2 different sides.
Yeah, they have to wait.
He's fully integrated. But,
yep.
That's the one thing I wish the compound match, like, kind of featured. Was just like they knocked out Xavier Woods and they just abducted him.
Yeah, it was odd. Like, and that's a lot of the comments that I saw was that there was no real, like, they just kind of fought and it was like a wrestling match. They just kind of fought and they were done. There were seemingly no consequences to it besides, oh, now they're going to have a match. It's like, well, they just fought in a field. Why do they need to have a match? But
and the whole Xavier Woods like yelling at them, walking off or whatever was kind of like it was kind of like done after that WWE.com interview.
It was like
he's just like
it was like it was retconned or something. It's really strange.
It's gimmick infringement. I'm gonna call Taz. We'll get our lawyers after you.
Oh, I can't say retconned.
That's my thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, I think we're done. So we're going to call it. Like I said, we got this show, and look out for our draft special, which I am going to be feverishly finishing to get out after this show. So listen up for that. With that, I am done. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke. Larry, take it away.
What am I taking away? I got more stuff here. What do you want me to read? I got a WWE Network card. I can read the back of that if you want. Or you just get off my computer. Whatever. You know, not doing this silent treatment crap. That's my thing. I'm going to turn on my air conditioner now.